Fatally ill, and New York Governor Mario Cuomo is in the middle of the controversy over mixing religion and politics.
Also coming up, we'll find out how the Cubs pummeled the Mets in the first of a crucial three-game series. And if you're not watching baseball, Janet Davies has some suggestions on how to spend your weekend. All these stories and more coming up on Eyewitness News at 4.
DeRocher, Banks, Santo, Williams, Huntley, Jenkins, Beckert, Kessinger. The great summer of '69 is brought back to life in the first of the Cubs' new fine art series. Created by the nationally known artist Conrad Hack, the stars of the '69 Cubs are featured on this beautiful art print. It's a must for all Cub fans. The '69 Cubs limited edition art print is now available by mail only. Send your check or money order for $35 to Cubs Art Print, Wrigley Field, 1060 West Addison Street, Chicago.
This is the new taco salad from Taco Bell. The salad in a bowl. You can eat.
The freshest things from Taco Bell, served up in a flake flour shell.
That's my bowl.
Taco salad, ooh, what a treat.
I'm gonna eat the bowl, but I'm gonna break it first.
Just made for you in a bowl you can't eat.
Oops, all gone. Guess you'll just have to try one for yourself. You know where.
Taco Bell, it's just made for you.
The wheel's spinning, 6:30 tonight.
This is Channel 7 Eyewitness News with Joel Daly, Linda Yu, Jerry Taft's weather, Jim Rose for Mike Adamley on sports, and the Eyewitness News team.
Good afternoon, everyone. The incredible Cubs continue to bound their way toward the division championship and the pennant playoff by putting even more distance between the also-rans from New York. For the Mets, it's do or die. For the Cubbies, it's New York goodbye, hello, San Diego. Kim Peterson at Wrigley Field, his home away from home. And Kim, how sweet it is.
When they talk about getting a case of pennant fever now, you can really talk about it seriously at this point, because we have the Cubs have won this game 7-1.
Well, I hear him. Maybe you can't.
What's that, Joel?
I can't hear or see you, Kim.
Well, we're having a feed problem apparently here. We'll stick with it for a second.
We'll get that taken care of, and Linda will continue.
Okay.
But we got it taken care of.
We're all set?
Take it away.
Okay. We back on here? I can see Joel.
Looks like we're not.
We'll get back to you, Kim.
Why don't we switch over here right now, because we have some other news about the Cubs, and meantime we'll search for Kim. The Cubs did some battling in court today as well as on the playing field. Lawyers for the Cubs and Baseball Commissioner Bowie Kuhn asked a Cook County Circuit Court judge to dismiss a World Series lawsuit. That suit was filed by a Cubs fan and complains that Kuhn is treating the Cubs unfairly by depriving them of the home field advantage for the World Series. This year it is the National League's turn to be home for four games of a 7-game series, including Game 7. But because Wrigley Field lacks lights, as you well know, Kuhn had made the Cubs the home team for Games 3, 4, and 5, the middle games. That case was continued until September 25th. And then there was another court hearing involving the Cubs today, this one filed by tenants in a building across the street from Wrigley Field. They had charged that the landlord wants to keep them from watching the Cubs from the roof and instead charge others for the privilege. The landlord denied it, and his attorney said the issue is how many people can safely be on the roof.
There have been 50 people on the roof, but that's something that the owner, who's subjected to liability in the event something happens, would have to determine.
Who has the right to control access to the roof? We're all talking in terms of a reasonable number being up there. There have always been 40 to 45 to 50 people up there for every game. We're not talking in numbers in excess of that. So we're not talking in terms of the structural integrity of the roof. We're talking in terms of who gets to invite the guests up there. It's been the custom and usage of the tenants throughout the course of their leases to bring up approximately 10 to 15 guests per floor. And that's what they hope to do for the playoffs.
Now, a solution was adopted for the Mets series this weekend. Another hearing will be held next Tuesday. Two sides said today that they are satisfied with the temporary solution. However, they weren't telling anybody else what the details of that solution were.
Now, Linda, through the good offices of the Missing Children Network, we have found Kim Peterson. Take it, Kim.
haven't been called a kid in some time, Joel. Anyway, what a great win for the Cubs today. I talked to both managers before this game, and Davey Johnson said he had to win this series. They had to sweep all 3 games against the Cubs, so they were in deep trouble. Well, they're in deep trouble today, folks. And one reason was Rick Sutcliffe, who had 6 strikeouts today, including against Wally Backman, a call strike on the outside corner. That's what they call painting them, folks. 6 strikeouts on the day. That is Rick's 19th win in the majors overall, including his 15th win as a Chicago Cub. Then Jody Davis comes up in the big 6th inning, bases loaded, bang, against about a 16, 17 mile an hour gusty wind out there, right into the left center field bleachers. And all of a sudden, the Cubs have creamed these Mets, took a 7-0 lead, ended up scoring another run for the Mets, and it became a 7-1 victory for the Chicago Cubs. The fans gave Jody a standing ovation. He had to come out and tip his hat, which they really don't like to do because it kind of shows up the other team, but they do it graciously. And a big victory for these Chicago Cubs. Heroes all over the place. Bob Dernier drove in the first run. Sandberg drove in the second run to go ahead and take the lead that would stay for good with a sacrifice fly. And the Chicago Cubs' magic number keeps on dropping. They have 2 more games in this series. We'll have more for you in the Sportscast later on. Live at Wrigley Field, I'm Kim Peterson, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
I knew we could find you. Thanks, Kim.
Okay.
Turning to other city news, Chicago's top zoning official is dead, killed in an accident on the south side as the result of a police chase. Bob Petty has details.
James Wilkes Jr. worked for the city of Chicago for 20 years. For the past year, he served as acting administrator for the Department of Zoning. The incident leading to the fatal crash began when a police officer on patrol saw 3 men loading tarpaulin in their car during the early morning hours. After the suspect's car pulled away, the officer stopped them.
And the driver of the vehicle exited the vehicle and started walking toward the officer. The officer exited his vehicle and started walking toward the driver of the suspect vehicle. Suddenly, the driver of the suspect vehicle went back to his vehicle, jumped in the car, and sped off.
The driver of the suspect car has been identified as 38-year-old William Mack of Springfield. His 2 passengers, 34-year-old Charles Knox and 35-year-old Eugene McQueen, both of Chicago, were also killed in the accident. Those who knew and worked with James Wilkes said the entire city of Chicago has suffered a loss.
I just heard the news from the police officer in the mayor's office, and I'm just shocked.
Jim's part as the zoning administrator was very important. He had done his work, his homework extremely well, and he was so helpful to the law department, though it is a great loss.
The man being held responsible for the accident, William Mack, is still hospitalized. He suffered a number of minor injuries. He's facing charges of theft, speeding, damage to city property, and reckless homicide. Bob Petty, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Funeral arrangements have not yet been finalized for the 3 victims. Linda?
Joel, the city of Chicago is saying that it is too expensive to build a center median the entire length of Lakeshore Drive. That median might prevent the kind of accidents that have plagued that drive in recent weeks. Channel 7's Jim Avila has a live report now on the economics versus the safety for Lakeshore Drive. Jim?
Linda, as you might expect, the traffic has already begun here. The hectic go-home commute has begun. It's not quite as bad as it was yesterday, when right here just north of North Avenue, you can still see the skid mark where there was a head-on crash. That comes, of course, just after the Labor Day crash, which killed 7 people. You can also see right there the problem, a very short median strip. Now, the city says it would like to correct that, but it just can't afford the $100 a foot it would cost to put up a full-scale median there. The accidents were dramatically tragic. 7 people dead on Labor Day when a drunk driver jumped the 10-inch median head-on into 4 cars. Then, in almost the same spot last night, another head-on leaves 2 people in serious condition. But the city says Lakeshore Drive is generally a safe street. It is limited to cars with no dangerous truck traffic, and it has a low 40-mile-per-hour speed limit. A recent safety study recommended higher medians at 4 strips along Lakeshore Drive, but not between North and Fullerton.
We could put medians all over the entire drive, but I don't think the city or the state would have enough dollars to fund any kind of a program like that. I guess we got to be realistic about it. You know, there was about 180,000 accidents that occur in Chicago a year. Lakeshore Drive, compared to the other express facilities in the metropolitan area of Chicago, is probably a safer. You get to Dan Ryan, it's really it's a disaster sometimes because you've got trucks on that facility.
The city is thinking of using temporary barriers like these used during construction, but no one knows if they would cause more problems than they solve.
They're not keyed into the roadway. In other words, they can be hit and knocked out of kilter and maybe cause an additional accident other than what we can do. And also putting in these temporary GM barriers in a section where you've got a raised median that goes up and down, like in this section here. Whether or not that's a good idea, we don't know.
But the main city contention is that Lakeshore Drive is a safe place to be. Number one, because the speed limit is low. Number two, because there's no intersections. And number three, there are no trucks. It says if you don't drink and drive on Lakeshore Drive, you're okay. The problem is being protected from those who do. Reporting live on Lakeshore Drive, Jim Avila, Channel 7 Eyewitness News. Linda?
All right, thanks very much, Jim.
And we have more on the drive as John Kramer, the newly appointed general manager of the 1992 World's Fair in Chicago, says he supports the idea of relocating part of Lakeshore Drive near Grant Park. That idea has met opposition from Alderman Bernard Stone, the chairman of the City Council's World's Fair Committee, and Park District Chief Ed Kelly. During today's taping of Eyewitness Forum, Kramer said the $35 million allocation
it would
help.
Clearly be desirable, not just for the World's Fair, but for the museums and for traffic flow on Lakeshore Drive.
You seem to be selling that as sort of a residual benefit out of the fair.
Yes.
Think they'll buy that?
And a desirable transportation project.
Are Kelly and Stone going to buy that?
Well, I think they need to see a concrete plan put in front of them that they can react to.
Kramer says the project, which would move the drive westward to land now used by Illinois Central Railroad, may possibly be funded by the federal government. That entire Eyewitness Forum program with the new World's Fair General Manager John Kramer can be seen Sunday morning at 8:30 a.m. right here on Channel 7. Linda?
Joel, the manhunt continues for the killer of Joliet police officer Michael Murren. Meantime, Murren's partner, Officer Thomas Ponce, is trying to cope with that traumatic incident. Art Patak recently talked to Ponce to find out how he is doing, and Art has more now in tonight's Inside Story. Unfortunately, we don't have that tape for you. We'll try to get that back for you a little bit later on. Right now, next up, we are told there is sunny and cool weather ahead for us. Jerry Taft is going to join us next with the weekend weather forecast. Plus, an earthquake shakes central Japan. We'll have details on that story coming up next.
Satisfied. Tropicana Golden Pure Orange Juice. The 64-ounce container, just $1.59.
That's the Certa Saver this week. In the daytime, nighttime, playtime, and happy times. Carson's is for me. I'm special, ambitious. I'm making a place for me. Carson's is for me.
Check the selection, see how little you've paid. With Handy Andy, you've got it made.
This solid brass peerless kitchen faucet with spray features washerless design. Handy Andy sale priced this week only $34.99. Or get this powerful Black & Decker 7 1/4-inch circular saw for only $34.99. Plus a chance to win a $440 workshop.
With Handy Andy, you got it made.
It's the Tops.
Cheese on a soup or entree.
It's the Tops.
Cheese for a sauce or snack tray.
It's the Tops on all-time favorites like apple pie. So celebrate. Sure it tastes great. Real cheese is why.
So go ahead, add real cheese.
You'll never stop. 'Cause cheese, it's the Tops.
Make your meals sing with real cheese.
One man is dead, 22 people are missing after a powerful earthquake struck a wide area of central Japan. That quake measured 6.9 on the Richter scale. It caused heavy damage, brought already 198 aftershocks. And there was a school that was in session when the quake hit. Students there were quickly evacuated. Some residents are reported injured, hundreds of people homeless as their homes were destroyed or heavily damaged. Survivors were left without electric power and other services. And the rescuers were hampered by roads that were broken or filled with mud and boulders. Army troops as well as police are still searching the stricken area for people who are missing. Back in this country, in North Carolina, police are allowing many residents who were evacuated to return to their homes now that Hurricane Diana has been downgraded to a tropical storm. 2 deaths are being blamed on Diana, whose 110-mile-an-hour winds caused an estimated $25 million worth of damage. North Carolina is sending food to some of the victims and is also working to clear roads. However, Governor James Hunt has asked for federal assistance, saying recovery is beyond the capability of state and local government. After touring areas of the destruction, the governor said North Carolina has been badly hurt and badly damaged. But he also said the devastation would have been much worse if Diana had struck at high tide instead of low tide. A fast food chain is helping to serve 15,000 meals to victims. Despite the damage, some homes were nearly intact. That was good news to a 75-year-old man.
I'm happy to be home, man. I'm telling you. I ain't slept none for 2 nights.
We feel real pleased that it's not any worse than we thought it was going to be.
However, the danger is not over in some of the areas, so National Guard troops have stopped some of the residents from returning home and sent them right back to the evacuation centers.
Linda, I've just received word that they've declared the studio a federal disaster area.
Feels a little bit like that on a Friday.
I tell you, it's going to be something to watch when Jerry calls for the local radar and here comes Art Patak. Give it a go.
Yeah, can you imagine Art doing the weather? Let's talk about our weather situation. It has been rather cool today, and it looks like a cool weekend, although we will start to see some sunshine by tomorrow afternoon, and all in all, the weekend doesn't look too bad. A satellite photo, and this one recently taken within the last 20 minutes, shows the clouds extending all the way back to most portions of Iowa. Northwestern Iowa now starting to clear. Some of the higher clouds across northern Illinois do contain a couple of light showers. We'll see 2 waves of showers move through. On the Marseilles radar, we can see the first group of showers just out to the west moving toward the city, and then there's another little band of showers along the Rock River. So we'll get one group of showers around 6 or 6:30. We'll get a couple-hour break and then another wave of showers. Then the clouds will extend throughout most of the nighttime hours, and then during the day tomorrow we will see decreasing cloudiness. Let's talk about today. We had a low temperature this morning of 59, high this afternoon of 64. That's 12 degrees below the normal high of 76. And it will continue in the 60s over the weekend. Record low for the state, 42. Record high, 99. Sunset this evening at 7:02. 63 at Dunes Park, 64 at Whiting, 62 at the lakefront. O'Hare, 61. Midway right now, 63. The winds are northeast at 13 miles an hour. We do have a falling barometer, and the humidity quite high at 64%. We'll see a drop in humidity tomorrow, and again, cool air on tap for the weekend. Diana now is a tropical storm. It is moving to the east-northeast at about 10 miles an hour, winds running about 45 miles an hour. And as we get rid of one storm, we now have another tropical storm. This is Edward, and that is the Spanish spelling, so don't think we misspelled it. Down near the Yucatan, that is drifting north, does pose a threat to the Texas coast over the weekend. We'll be keeping our eyes on that. All the warm, humid air down to the south of us. The cool front is now pushed through southern Illinois. We have clouds, but cool air expected for the next couple of days. Coolest night will take place by tomorrow night. Temperatures in the 90s. Down in Memphis right now, 91, 64 in Chicago. You can see 50s and 60s up to the north, and temperatures in the 90s down to the south. National radar shows the showers over us now. They are moving off to the east, but again, another band out to the west. So we will see variable clouds, showers tonight, and then tomorrow, decreasing clouds. The clouds move off to the east, only in the 60s, and sunshine and the 60s for Sunday. Tonight, the forecast, we will have clouds, a few light showers. Overnight lows about 60 near the lake, 50 in the outlying areas. And then for tomorrow, becoming partly sunny, still cool with a high of 65 degrees. Tomorrow night will be chilly in the outlying areas. 42 degrees in the outlying areas tomorrow night, 52 near the lake on Sunday. Mostly sunny, a little bit warmer with a high near 70. So all in all, the weekend does not look too bad, but it will be averaging about 4 to 6 degrees below normal.
Thanks,
the
Jerry.
inside story. Well, despite the drop in temperatures on this last weekend of summer, there are still plenty of activities taking place in the Chicago area this weekend. Janet Davies takes a look at some of the offerings in this report.
You know, Joel, right now we're in that transitional festival period. It's the end of summer, and we're just about ready to go into the autumn festivals. And one of those transitional festivals everyone looks forward to is the annual Rib Fest in Grant Park. We're at the restaurant of Charlie Robinson of Robinson's Ribs. He was last year's big Rib King winner. And we're going to talk to him in just a moment because he's a judge this year, and he's going to give us an idea of who the winner will be coming up on Sunday. But first, let's take a glance around and see that there's a lot of fun for everyone this weekend. For you grape groupies, the 6th annual Festival of the Vine pours it on in Geneva, Illinois. Here's an opportunity this weekend to sample over 100 different wines and educate your palate in wine seminars. It's parade time again when at noon Saturday, Shriners lift their fezzes to the crowd in their annual parade. Marching begins at Wacker in Michigan and continues to Columbus. If you can get a seat, any seat, then you'll have the best fun in town this weekend, and we're talking about the Cubs' 3-game home series with the Mets. Remember the entertainment the teams provided last time the Mets paid a visit? The Muppets are still in town at the UIC Pavilion. Miss Piggy, Kermit, and all the others are performing in their first live stage show called, what else? The Muppet Show on Tour. Tickets are $8 and $9. For those who just want to have fun, pop music's hottest version of Betty Boop, Cyndi Lauper, is at Poplar Creek on Sunday. She'll also be seen tonight on MTV at their first awards ceremony. Cyndi's nominated for 8 and sure to win a few. And Chicago is hoping to have a winner when Miss Illinois Ruth Booker competes in the Miss America pageant tomorrow night. Because of the Vanessa Williams controversy, it's expected to be the most watched show in pageant history. And history repeats itself Sunday in Grant Park at the annual Rib Fest. Around 500 contestants will vie for the smoky honor of Chicago's Rib King or Queen. This is last year's winner, Charlie Robinson. You're a judge this year. What are you going to be looking for? What's going to be the best rib?
Me being a professional now, I think the quality of the product and that tangy barbecue sauce is going to be the success to this year's winner.
All right, we look forward to that on Sunday in Grant Park. And Charlie, you'll be there with some ribs to sell for everybody, those hungry people. Live from Oak Park in Robinson's Ribs, this is Janet Davies, Channel 7 Eyewitness News. Back to you, Joel and Mary Ann.
Thank you, Janet. I forgot to tell her we're going to be in Coal City. Next, Jim Rose joins us with all the sports, including an update on the condition of Bears quarterback Jim McMahon.
Oh, I discovered a new store. Well, not a new store, but new to me. Montgomery Ward. New because I didn't know they carried so many brand names. Sony, Maytag, Jordache, and selection. In microwaves alone, I saw 9 different models. So I became a new Montgomery Ward customer.
Things are changing at Montgomery Ward, and we're earning some pretty tough customers.
Get the lowest prices of the year on these microwave ovens, now at Montgomery Ward.
This is Twinkie the Kid. Ever wonder how they get that creamy filling into the middle of a Twinkie's cake? Well, these kids have some pretty good ideas.
First, they put down the creamy filling, then they bake the cake all around. See, they got this big tube full of the stuff, and they just squish it in. It's just warm there.
Hostess Twinkies cakes, fruit pies, and cupcakes. Yahoo! The fresh snacks with a snack in the middle.
Let's take a look at this week's People, starring Cyndi Lauper. And what a story People tells of how misfit Cindy is becoming millionaire Cindy. Let's look closer at People and hear Liz's boyfriend tell why the romance ended. Now let's go inside People. Learn about the hilarious new college guide, tour Dudley Moore's new restaurant, discover the fit or fat diet, and much more. So pick up this week's People for yourself, for your family, and see how Cyndi Lauper is getting the last laugh.
Hi, folks. You look like you could use a night out. Introducing new Deep Pan Pizza at Showbiz. Now you can get any large deep pan or regular style pizza, a pitcher of soft drink, free tokens, and all the fun of Showbiz Pizza Place for just $9.95. Great deal, huh? The Showbiz $9.95 night out. Any large pizza, a pitcher of soft drink, and free tokens for games and rides. Hey there, you look like you could use a night out.
Well, he hit 18 home runs all season, so they intentionally walked the man ahead of him, and Jody does it on the first pitch.
What
it
a
was
mistake.
marvelous.
What a mistake Ron Darling made. And you know what Davey Johnson did? As soon as he did, he said, come on, son, let's go. That's it. You're done. In overtime, Mike Bossy of the Islanders at 12:29 of the extra session makes it 3-2. Mike Bossy, of course, of the Islanders, and a couple of the Chicago Blackhawks were on that team, but they were cut. Anyway, a happy crowd on hand in Edmonton last night. As you see the slow motion replay, Mike Bossy will get credit for the goal. It'll bounce off his shoulder. Tonelli and Coffey got the assists. Again, Canada 3, the USSR 2. Canada is now 3-2-1. The United States 3-2-1. The annual United Way luncheon kickoff featured some special guests, members of the 1984 Olympic team. On hand to raise money for the United Way, Bob Berlin, Olympic judo silver medalist, was on hand, as well as gold medalist Nancy Hogshead and gold medalist diver Greg Louganis, as well as other Olympic stars, hopefully not getting too beefed up on the banquet circuit. Cubs win another big victory today, and hopefully tomorrow and Sunday, so we can just forget about these New York Mets.
Sounds as if you found a worm in the Big Apple.
Yeah, a bunch of worms.
Large worm, too. Thanks, Jim. Coming up next, to look at that controversy over mixing religion and politics, including some comments from New York's Catholic Governor Mario Cuomo.
But because it is the judgment of...
Carpet myth number 1.
You can't shop at home for real quality carpeting.
Do you mind if we explode that myth? Empire has almost all the top brand names. Salem, World, Philadelphia, Galaxy, Evans Black. So buy your good carpeting at home from Empire. You'll get a great price, a terrific credit plan, a free phone or shampooer, and delivery quicker than you can say.
You can shop at home for quality carpeting.
588-2300 Empire.
DeRocher, Banks, Santo, Williams, Huntley, Jenkins, Beckert, Kessinger. The Great Summer of '69 is brought back to life in the first of the Cubs' new fine art series. Created by the nationally known artist Conrad Hack, the stars of the '69 Cubs are featured on this beautiful art print. It's a must for all Cub fans. The '69 Cubs limited edition art print is now available by mail only. Send your check or...
You think they're still gonna have them?
We like to make Zare your store.
When you come to Zare for a sale, you want to find what you're looking for. So we're stocking up better than ever. But if we do give you a rain check, you'll get an extra 10% off the sale price.
Where's Becker?
Off on a wild goose chase.
We'd like to make Zare your store.
Well done.
Zare!
You're searching for the finest cookware. You want design and durability, even heating and easy cleaning. You want Estia stainless cookware now at Jewel. Estia's unique stainless steel and aluminum tri-ply construction distributes heat evenly for cooking that's fast and efficient. And Jewel makes owning this 9-piece set affordable. Your search is over. Start collecting Estia stainless cookware only at Jewel.
When it comes to football, we believe in bench strength. And every Sunday morning, you can start your day with the best in college football action. Kick off at 9 with head coach Lee Corso bringing you highlights and insights of the Northern Illinois Huskies. Then at 9:30, head coach Dennis Green brings you all the action of the Northwestern Wildcats. And at 10, head coach Mike White has the best plays of the week of the Fighting Illini. The teams, the players, the coaches. They're all you need to start a great Sunday of sports on 7.
Turning now to world news, Pope John Paul II continued his triumphant tour of Canada today, celebrating Mass in a driving rain before 120,000 worshipers. First, the pontiff visited 30 ailing children in a hospital. He spoke personally to many of the youngsters and then told them and the hospital staff that Jesus had a special love for the handicapped, the sick, all who suffer, and for children. At the Mass, he praised Canadian missionaries. The rain did not discourage his audience, many of whom had camped overnight to await his visit. Jay Levine will have a live report from Canada on the Pope's trip during Eyewitness News at 6. Linda?
Joel, the issues of religion and politics are the reasons why a New York Catholic home for unwed mothers has rejected a $1,500 gift from Governor Mario Cuomo. The New York governor, who is a Roman Catholic, received that money from the University of Notre Dame as an honorarium for a speech that he delivered last night. The doctors at the unwed home say they had to turn the money down because of their strong opposition to Cuomo's views on abortion. Well, that issue is also playing a large part in this current presidential campaign. Channel 7's Mike Jackson joins us now with more on that. Mike?
Thank you, Linda. This abortion issue is really changing a lot of aspects of the political landscape, and the result is that the Democrats have a very special problem this year. They're not only campaigning against Ronald Reagan, they're also campaigning against the Catholic Church. The issue, of course, is abortion. And last night at Notre Dame, Mario Cuomo, the man who gave the keynote speech, which exhilarated the Democratic convention, told the clergy to leave politics to the politicians.
We will have a new president of the United States, a Democrat born not to the blood of kings, but to the blood of pioneers and immigrants.
Mario Cuomo at the convention in San Francisco, setting the stage for the Democratic campaign. And now, Mario Cuomo in the middle of the abortion controversy, which Democrats fear could hurt their chances in November. The problem is that Geraldine Ferraro, who is a Catholic, supports freedom of choice on abortion, even though she says, as a Catholic, she opposes abortion herself. And her Catholic Archbishop, John O'Connor of New York, says she is distorting Catholic doctrine. So at Notre Dame last night, Cuomo, who is also a Catholic, spent almost an hour suggesting that religious leaders sometimes get too involved in politics.
The American people are leery about large religious organizations, powerful churches or synagogue groups engaging in such activities. Again, not as a matter of law or doctrine, but because our innate wisdom and our democratic instinct teaches us these things are dangerous for both sides. Dangerous for the religious institution, dangerous for the rest of our society.
The speech last night at Notre Dame was officially a speech to theologians, to theology students, and so Cuomo's arguments were mostly to them as people who go out and practice their faith. He was arguing to them that the church's political positions can change quickly, and as an example, he talked about the Bishop Conference's stand on opposing the abortion, on an amendment opposing abortions, which the stand changed in 1981. The bishops no longer support the amendment. But the anti-abortion doctrine, of course, lives on. Cuomo told the theologians that the strength of the doctrine would diminish as the church became more political. And in fact, he was saying that by being in politics and also preaching a different doctrine, people get mixed signals, and the parishioners come away not knowing exactly what to do. They weaken their own position, he said.
Well, the issue goes on. Thanks, Mike. Coming up next, some Chicago parents claim doctors did not warn them of the serious condition of their baby's health, and they want those doctors to pay for that silence. That story when we come back.
Hey, look! Freebie's back, and he's coming into Long John Silver's.
What's Freebie up to now?
He's here to announce the free shrimp offer. When you order our 6-piece shrimp dinner, now with larger shrimp, you get 2 extra shrimp as a bonus. And they're absolutely free. We'll just add them to your 6-piece shrimp dinner. So come on in and get 2 of our new larger shrimp free when you buy our 6-piece shrimp dinner at Long John Silver's.
There's a new star in Chicago, Fashion and People, the classy, sassy new section in the Sunday Sun-Times. It sparkles with a look at how real people live, work, play. It flashes with the hottest news on fashion. It shines with a look into stylish homes. It sizzles with the tastes, sights, smells, sounds of Chicago. Fashion and People, the newest star in town, only in the Sunday Sun-Times.
This week, an Illinois appellate court made a landmark ruling on what is being called a wrongful life case. Parents of a baby who died of Tay-Sachs disease say they would never have had the child if doctors had told them that a test existed to discover that fatal disease. The court disagreed. However, the parents say they don't agree with the term wrongful life to describe their case. The issue, they say, should be that doctors were negligent. Jeffrey Goldberg spent most of his young life suffering with crippling Tay-Sachs disease. His father, Michael, remembers when Jeffrey first got sick.
When he had the seizure, I didn't know what happened. It was winter. I have a pediatrician who lives next door, and I remember running through the snow in my underwear to get the pediatrician. I didn't know what to do. I was just so upset.
The Goldbergs didn't know what was happening because they didn't know Jeffrey had Tay-Sachs. No doctor told them that Jewish couples run the risk of the disease in their children. That was back in 1978.
Jeffrey died 1 month short of being 3 years of age. My wife and I are both college graduates. My wife is a teacher. I'm an attorney, and I was not aware of it. It appeared that the only alternative we had was to file a medical malpractice lawsuit.
An Illinois court ruled this week the cost of care for Jeffrey could be recovered, but the doctor didn't have to pay for Jeffrey's suffering. There are ways to tell if parents are carriers of Tay-Sachs. The first step is a simple blood test to see if one or both parents carry the disease in their genes. If so, there are more tests on the fetus. If the unborn child has Tay-Sachs, the parents can choose to abort.
Todd was a beautiful little boy with big dimples. He smiled and...
Debbie and Maury Fisher's case is more complicated. They did get a blood test, but say their doctor didn't read it for Tay-Sachs.
He's now completely blind, deaf. He has suffered from seizures. He can't move. He does not recognize anyone.
The Fishers feel the term wrongful life, which has been used to describe their position, is wrong. It isn't that Todd Fisher and Jeffrey Goldberg shouldn't have lived. It's that doctors should have informed the parents first so they could make a choice. Dr. Joel Charo, an expert on Tay-Sachs, agrees that more information is absolutely necessary.
Many people obviously feel that they would like to prevent the birth of a child with Tay-Sachs disease because of the suffering that that child experiences, and because of the suffering that the family experiences. Because it is a disease for which there is no treatment. It is felt that there are many, I guess, many negative things that that go on in that child's short life, and very little positive.
Well, the Goldberg case, which was ruled on by the appellate court this week, will be appealed. And doctor bills for the Fishers have already added up to $250,000, but they say they will wait on their lawsuit until the Goldberg case has been decided. Right now, we want to clarify a story that we ran yesterday at about this time. We had showed you a story about the effects of aerobic exercise on arthritis sufferers. We want to make it absolutely clear that this type of exercise isn't for everyone. Before you start any kind of program, you should consult your doctor first. If you are interested in this story on exercise and arthritis, you could call this telephone number. It is the Northwestern Arthritic Clinic. That telephone number is 649-8199.
Story of interest to many women in the Chicago area. Gloria Marshall figure salons closed their doors today in Chicago and across the nation. Just hours before the 4 o'clock closing, hundreds of women still exercising right until the last moment, then saying goodbye to a fitness tradition that promised a lot for a minimal amount of strenuous exercise.
I'm very sad. The girls here are so wonderful, so helpful, so kind and gentle. They made everyone feel important, and it's just wonderful.
Most of the salons will be manned for 2 weeks longer so that customers can collect any outstanding membership money due them. The actual refund should be made by the end of December.
Coming up next, the threat of a strike against General Motors shakes up some Chicago area auto workers. We will take a look at the strike situation and the health of the auto industry coming up next.
I've got a hot tip. Buy now.
Right now, during Evans Investment Days, save 25 to 60% on fine furs and women's apparel. Exercise your savings options on Evans wool coats, suits, dresses, and sportswear, shoes and accessories. Save 25 to 60% on the smartest investments of all, Evans collection of fine furs. Evans store-wide investment days this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday only. Smart buyers will be there because blue chip stock at this price won't be around for long.
The typical cereal is a monotone of flakes. But Quaker 100% Natural is a whole symphony of taste. Quaker 100% Natural. A symphony of taste.
There are a million stories during Marshall Field's We've Got Your Mattress sale.
Upstairs, hurry.
I can't sleep. It's a crime when someone can't sleep.
Sir, you should buy a new Simmons, Sealy, or Serta mattress at Marshall Fields. Every size, every firmness is 30 to 60% off.
Really?
That's a fact, sir.
We'll go tomorrow. But what about tonight?
That's why we're here, sir. It's our job. Boys?
Marshall Fields, we've got your mattress sale. Now through September 18th.
You're a smart shopper and I am too. I'm Cindy Saver with some tips for you. On a Serta Saver sign is where I'll be. Serta Saver satisfied, shop and see.
Tropicana Golden Pure Orange Juice with the fresh taste that'll have your family saying, "Squeeze me a glass of Tropicana." This week, the 64-ounce container of Tropicana Golden Pure Orange Juice is just $1.59 at participating Serta Saver stores.
Quality and price and people who are nice. The Serta Saver satisfied way.
The midnight deadline is fast approaching as negotiators for the United Auto Workers and General Motors continue closed-door contract talks, and there's been no word on any progress at those talks, and workers are becoming increasingly anxious. Lonnie Lardner reports.
6:25 a.m. UAW workers drive through their Fisher body plant gate as usual. Over 1,800 members work here at the Willowbrook plant, assembling bodies for all front-wheel drive cars made by GM. But their attention today turns to midnight tonight, when their union contract with the automaker expires, and they all know what that could mean.
Are you ready to go out on strike?
Sure. No problem. I just come back in March from being off for 2.5 years. And they haven't had a raise in that long a time. I'm gone. I've been used to having no money. No big deal.
But that man's feeling is not openly seen or felt by many of his co-workers.
If need be, we are ready to go on strike. We don't want to, but if we have to, we will. Are you ready to go out on strike?
Oh, I'd rather stay and work.
I have too many kids to feed. I have a mortgage note to pay. I have a car note to pay. I got too many bills.
The enthusiasm for a strike here at the Fisher body plant may not be as pumped up as it has been in past years, but UAW Local 558 says it has to prepare nonetheless.
We didn't aid too because the industry was down and there was some help needed. But now it's up and we need some help ourselves. We're down.
In the meantime, workers will continue to come to work as scheduled, many hopeful that their potential loss will not be a gain for foreign competition. Lonnie Lardner, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
As I reported, the talks go on, but even if an agreement is reached before the deadline in Detroit, the local union says its workers could still strike locally, both sides further apart than ever before. Linda?
Joel, as we know, part of the problem is that the U.S. auto industry is in better shape, or is reported to be in better shape than it has been for years. Andrew Leckie joins us now with a look at what a strike could mean to the automakers as well as what it could mean to car sales. Andrew?
That's right, Linda. Americans worry over air strikes, bus strikes, and rail strikes because it affects their means of getting around. But auto strikes no longer put the terror into our hearts they once did. A car is the second most expensive item that a family buys. That's right behind the home. But during hard times, we have learned to drive our cars a bit longer. Most cars on the road are 7 years of age or older. Few folks make the every other year trade-in they once did. Auto industry analysts say people are used to putting off purchases, so a strike means delayed rather than lost car sales.
Demand is greater than supply right now, and it is difficult to find some of the more popular GM models, but most dealers tell me they could last 2 or 3 weeks of a strike without too much trouble.
No company could better handle a strike than GM. It is coming off strong record profits. It has completed cost-cutting moves and has plenty of cash on hand. The Value Line Investment Survey rates its financial strength A+. But GM points out that the auto industry goes up and down in sales with the economy, so no 1 year should be a criteria for a labor contract. Yet the workers don't have the security they once did, with more cars being built overseas and more car parts coming from South America or Asia. So the worker worries our job security, and since wages were frozen during the 1982 downturn, they want improved wages now in the good times. But a real problem is that strikes are not considered cool these days. Remember how President Reagan handled the striking air traffic controllers? That's the current management mood. And while unhappy workers are willing to strike, they aren't really seeking those battling strikes of the past. There is not the same belligerence of the past, nor the same resolve. So workers are taking this situation cautiously and seriously. They realize that the company's strength and ultimately their own jobs this time around are in the balance. Joel and Linda?
All right, thanks very much, Andrew. Coming up next, Gary Deeb is going to preview 3 new television shows for us, including ER, and tells us about its Chicago connection.
You want to tell me how this happened?
Lots of soft drinks use NutraSweet blends these days, but they include saccharin in their blends. There's no saccharin in Canfield. Canfield's diet flavors are sweetened with nothing but NutraSweet brand sweetener. Don't be fooled by some other diet drinks. They still contain saccharin. Canfield's diet flavors are sweetened 100% with NutraSweet for great taste. For 100% great Canfield's taste. Canfield's for everyone.
When I want to have some fun, there's one thing that really cheers me up. I can't remember what it is, but it's something to eat. I know that, and it's got a rich, real cheese taste, and it's real nice and crunchy, and oh, it's Cheetos brand cheese flavored snacks. You know, chi as in cheesy, toes as in feet. So if you want to be happy, eat more cheesy feet.
If you want to be happy, eat more Cheetos.
Dazzling your eyes, boggling your mind. Furniture of exceptional quality at prices guaranteed to be the lowest in town. Where else but at Wix, where you're suddenly face to face with quality you never expected to find. And now save up to $500 per set on our entire selection of Simmons bedding, or save $150 on queen-size sleepers, $200 on a pair of chairs. Unexpected quality, spectacular savings, only at Wix. Surprisingly Wix.
Aren't you hungry?
And now, a few choice words about the Whopper at Burger King.
Lots of ketchup. No ketchup.
Cheese, please.
Hold the cheese.
No tomatoes.
Lots of pickles.
Hold the lettuce.
Extra tomatoes.
No pickles.
Heaps of mayonnaise.
Loads of onions.
No onions.
At Burger King, you've always been able to have your Whopper your way.
Have it your way at Burger King now.
Just give us the word.
Thanks.
If you like to watch TV, and we hope you do, you'll be happy to hear this is a big weekend for television viewing. Gary Deeb joins us now with what we should be looking out for. Gary?
Big weekend, Linda, and a very pleasant weekend also for us viewers. Two brand new programs are going to premiere on Sunday night. Both of them are well worth your time. To begin with, there's the long-awaited debut of ER, the CBS hospital comedy show that's based on the long-running Chicago stage play. ER stars Elliott Gould, who's just great. But two other performers who were plucked out of the cast of the Chicago ER also contribute very handsomely to what looks like the best new comedy this year.
Shut up! Now you see this white line? You stay behind it. It's for the protection of this pretty young lady right here. Hi, Maria.
Bruce Young is a cop, and Shuko Akune is the emergency room receptionist. Both left Chicago last spring to join the cast of the TV series. Now, although ER is an ensemble effort, the big audience attraction on the show has to be Elliott Gould, the terrific movie star who's making his first appearance in a weekly TV program. Gould plays a doctor who has to work a lot of overtime in order to keep up his alimony payments.
You're some lawyer. Why don't you just give me one simple piece of paper that says she gets everything and I get nothing?
ER captures the sometimes bizarre humor, as well as the blood and tears that infect a big city hospital emergency room. The program is based roughly on Chicago's Henrotin Hospital, and despite the dark humor and the sometimes pessimistic view of society, ER also can be a cute family comedy.
I thought you said it wasn't gonna hurt.
Ah, it didn't hurt that much.
Yes, it did.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, it did.
How do you know? Did you go to medical school?
Well, it hurts.
Feed it, punks. Do you think you'd be Michael Jackson or something, man? I'm gonna cut you good, sucker. Can't wait. I'm a little busy right now. Absolutely, man.
The title of this new show tells you a lot. Miami Vice is a tough, hard-bitten cop show produced by one of the former brains behind Hill Street Blues. The program, which kicks off on Sunday night on NBC, follows these two vice cops on their daily tour of Miami lowlife, dope dealers, prostitutes, and the high life of the cocaine crowd. On Miami Vice, when there's a chase, the action gets telecast in the style of a rock video with a pop music soundtrack. Most of all, however, Miami Vice is a realistic big city potboiler that promises to lure us with the same streetwise virtues that used to dominate Hill Street Blues. As for Hawaiian Heat, the Honolulu detective show that premieres tonight on ABC, it's an absolute embarrassment. A childish program that's heavy on skin and very light on any sort of credibility. My TV picks for the coming week, well, besides ER and Miami Vice, I don't think very many of us will be able to resist watching, you guessed it, the Miss America pageant tomorrow night. Doesn't matter whether you like pageants or not, there's been so much controversy surrounding this year's contest, largely because of Vanessa Williams, that there's no doubt in my mind that this 1984 pageant will register the biggest TV audience in its history. Finally, the absence of Howard Cosell from Monday Night Football doesn't appear to have either helped or hindered the popularity of that program. For the first 2 weeks of the Monday night season, the football games are attracting almost exactly the same number of viewers as they did last year. Joel and Linda, looks like Frank Gifford and Dandy Don Meredith and O.J. Simpson are doing just fine without humble Howard.
I know that breaks your heart. Well, it may not have been much of a day for the beach, but that didn't stop some Chicago school children from playing in the sand. Frank Matthey has their story next.
Jerry Redding, President and Director of Research for Nexus Products Company.
Nature itself is the ultimate miracle. It is here that the Nexus products for the hair and skin came to be. Is your hair brittle, oily, too thin? Ask your hairstylist for the Nexus formulation best suited to your particular hair and skin care needs. It took me over 50 years to find it, but it'll only take you a few pleasant moments at your favorite salon to discover the magic of Nexus for yourself.
Nexus. In June, over 300,000 people called MCI to start saving on long distance. In July, the calls kept coming in. Why now? What's happening? What's going on? Is it that MCI now has no monthly fee? Or is it MCI's new volume discounts? Or is it that maybe, just maybe, the whole country's finally had enough of AT&T's prices? Call MCI. There's never been a better time to start saving 5 to 40% on all your out-of-state calls from coast to coast.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner taste better with Jewel values. Start your morning meal with Mott's apple juice, just $1.59 a half gallon. Add a sweet touch to lunch with Keebler cookies, only $1.19 a package. And for an endless variety of dinner ideas, start with Jewel ground beef, approximately 70% lean, just 99 cents a pound. Enjoy round-the-clock values through Wednesday at Jewel.
Why did it take you so long to try Steak-'em all-beef sandwich steaks?
I thought it was expensive. It's under 50 cents per portion.
I didn't realize it's pure beef. Pure beef.
I did not know if it tasted good enough for me. It tastes good enough for me.
I didn't think this one box of Steak-'em sandwich steaks would give me so many big hot sandwiches.
If you're not trying Steak-'em now, what's keeping you? Steak-'em. You've got to try it.
Taking an afternoon off from the classroom was one of the easiest lessons to learn for a group of near North Side students. Instead of sitting behind the desk, they had a chance to mix and mingle along the lakefront, along with Frank Matthey.
It just didn't seem like the kind of day to spend time on the water and have fun on the beach. But there they were, filling North Avenue Beach from end to end on this cool day in mid-September. Yep, summer vacation is gone, but for the students of the Latin School on the near North Side, it was one last day at the beach playing in the sand. It was their first ever school-wide sand sculpting contest, and 900 kids from ages 4 to 18, they all dug in to change the shape of sand for at least a few hours. What are you building here?
Mount Fuji.
Mount Fuji? Wow, is it pretty real? Is this thing going to actually explode, or?
I don't know.
Some of the sculptures were so real, they were living, breathing, and even talking.
Well, what are you? A cockroach.
What does it feel like to be a cockroach?
Pretty uncomfortable.
What are you?
I'm supposed to be a sphinx. I mean a pyramid.
Well, what are you?
I'm a person.
The sculptures will last, of course, only until the next strong wind or the next rain. But that's still long enough to last these kids until next summer. Frank Matthey, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
And there's a lot more news to come. At 5 o'clock, here's John and Joan.
Linda, next on Eyewitness News at 5. Federal indictments of 4 Southsiders for the alleged racial harassment of a black man who moved his family into a white neighborhood. And then consul wars may begin taking jobs from workers as first plans come out for layoffs on projects stalled in the contracts fight.
Thousands of Chicago area workers could be on the picket line if a proposed strike is carried out. And the Cubs storm through the Mets as the fans go wild at Wrigley Field. Those stories and much more all next on Eyewitness News at 5.
John and Joan back in a moment. That's all for us for this week. Have a great weekend. We'll be back Monday.
And have a good evening, too.
This